Oh, good morning, everybody. Happy Happy Wednesday. The week always gets away from you when it's a long weekend and when you have a lot to run around. It's weird. I can't believe it's Wednesday already. So I have a bit of time to jump on today. I know we missed yesterday's. I didn't have a chance to jump on yesterday, but yesterday was kind of a disaster out there anyways. It's start off with some good news for today. If you have your VDY in your portfolio, the dividends came through, which was awesome. So it's nice to always wake up to that email and see a little bit of something in your account. So just went in today and doing what we're doing now going forward is adding just a fractional purchase of VDY. So that's been done. I'll update the channel with a actual portfolio update and how many kind of came through over on my community tab, because as you know, with the fractional shares, you do your purchase, but it doesn't kind of settle until later on in the day, towards the end of the day. So that's been done. If you haven't done that yet and you're wanting to, drip and reinvest in that ETF, if you have it, head on over to your Wealthsimple tab. You'll see it in there. And it was actually a decent dividend this month, which was nice to see. It's nice to see the dividend is definitely growing. It was I received $13 and let me just double check, 66 cents, I believe. Let me just, $13.66. So that's all great. So welcome everybody. There's a few people watching. If you have questions or comments, even if you just want to say, hi, I'm happy with that too. Let's see where we go. The market, I guess the news today, PPI in the States, producer index, which is going to lead the consumer price index, was higher than expected in the States. So I guess that means more rate hikes for the States. And I'm gonna assume Canada as well. We kind of knew this was coming, so we can't necessarily dwell on that, but that's the way it looks like it's shaping up. So I don't think we're going to see any relief on rates for a little bit anyways. But we'll see. I think the Fed if I'm not mistaken, I think they have a meeting later today. Is it today or tomorrow? I have to double check. I'm behind on the news. It's like I said, these long weekends throw you right off. I'm still having my morning coffee, so hopefully you are too. It's early still, 8 o'clock on the West Coast. In general, let's just see what the market is doing. I can pull up the PPI if you want to see. It was, let's just share my screen here. So let's stop that one, present. I wish with StreamYard you could select multiple tabs, but I guess you can't. Let's pull that up. So market a little bit higher. Let me go and so I can actually scroll through here. So PPI, what was it today? It rose 0.4% in September after falling 0.2 during the prior month. So there we go, higher. That's all what we can expect is higher interest rates. Never fun. I have been checking out though, and I'll pull this one up instead because I'm getting kind of used to this now. I don't know if anybody has checked out TradingView yet, but I'm really liking I'm not a chart person by any means, but I do like how if you look, they have some good news sections, which are a bit more. So if you go to news, they have some snaps and some news flow for what's happening. So basically, like these are kind of the snaps, is kind of the highlights, and then the news flow is more like kind of everything thrown in there without any pictures. So depending how you like to look for articles that catch your eye, this is kind of a neat way to find news over and above. Different from I normally used to go to Yahoo Finance, but I have the ad blocker on now because there's like so many ads with Yahoo Finance. It drove me crazy. Where this one doesn't have really any ads on there. So let's see if we can go in and look at the news flow. But you can also go down by different different class. So we'll go to stock news. So Pepsi did well. I know some people were buying Coke the other day on the live stream, but you can go here and so that it doesn't have any. The best part is it doesn't have any ads. Now, it doesn't give you necessarily all the articles depending on where it's aggregating it from. So if you go to a different website, you're going to probably see ads, but at least you get the gist of it without seeing a ton of ads, which is kind of nice actually, for once, not to be overblown with ads all the time. But so there we go. That's just what I wanted to kind of point out too. You can actually drill down by countries and everything else too. So it's pretty robust. And this is actually kind of even, you can get overview of quotes and stuff. Canadian stock market, a whole bunch of stuff on there. So, but if you go to snaps or news, it'll pull out actually news from that country. So obviously we're in Canada here. We can go and see our daily news. This will pull obviously different things from the US as well, because it's all kind of connected, but gives you a rough idea. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely take a look at TradingView. I'm still sitting on the free trial. It's not something I necessarily know. I don't necessarily think I'll necessarily subscribe to it. I think the free version seems to be pretty good, and I don't know after my 30-day trial how it's going to scale back, but we'll see. So if anybody has any suggestions, other things for where you get your news, let me know. So I've been going to that kind of every morning, but still the old standby Yahoo Finance. The one thing I find with Yahoo Finance is the mobile. I like the mobile app. So it's on I have it on obviously my phone. It's pretty easy to check because when you wake up, if you're sitting in bed or something, it's easy to kind of go and check all the news there. And I have my watch lists and stuff on there, which I like having set up as opposed to logging into Wealthsimple's thing. You can do a quick run through with Yahoo Finance. So, and that's it. So anybody else, if you're watching, I know we've got a few people watching. Hello, welcome. We started doing these live streams almost daily. We're doing pretty good. We missed yesterday, but that's okay. Nothing kind of scheduled. So if you're tuning in, we try and go on basically every day between about 8 to 8:45 or 9 o'clock for an hour. So we're on the Pacific time. So just kind of get the morning, get to see what's kind of happening. We do a little bit of update on the portfolio. And then answer questions. So kind of I find it helps with build a bit of community with the channel. A few people have been asking a lot of questions in the comments of the videos. So sometimes it works better just to go on and be able to give a better answer, a longer answer than trying to type it all out. So if you have questions, by all means, let me know. Not an expert by any means, of course. I always like to say, but do my best to help you out if you have questions on anything, past videos, anything, up to kind of everybody. That's kind of the whole idea of jumping on the streams. We don't keep it structured other than doing a bit of update on what kind of happened overnight or what's happening in the day, and that's how we roll. It's a lot of fun kind of doing these, and usually a few channel people show up. It depends. If it's I feel like I'm probably busy this week. It's that short week that always throws you off. So I'm going to assume a lot of people are probably in the same boat. It always seems to, like I said, kind of gets away from you. That extra day off. It's nice, but it always seems to make it the rest of the week be more hectic. So it's like, I wonder if it's actually beneficial or not. But I was on on Monday, Thanksgiving Day. So hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Rolling through. Had a lot of turkey. If you have leftovers, maybe still, they're probably running out by now. Everybody gets kind of sick of leftovers after a couple days, but something like a good turkey sandwich after the fact. And I was trying to pull up the VDY price I got in that, but I think the amount changes depending on when it gets posted. Because the last trade I was showing was 39.09. Now I wish I was able to purchase a bit more, but again, if you've been following along, those seem to be racking up. So just rolling in the dividends at this point. For me, payday not till next week. So gotta wait and see. But it was nice to get that dividend. It was a good dividend. Nice. That's one thing that's nice about as a portfolio build. I mean, it's down like everything, right? But it's nice to see the dividends come through and be able to reinvest something. So it's growing a little, eventually is growing. That's nice. That's nice to see, because if you weren't invested, those dividends wouldn't be coming through. So if it is long term, so it's nice to kind of get. I'm thinking opportunity now as opposed to doom and gloom. Although it's ugly, it is ugly out there. But that's just how I'm kind of thinking. Sometimes you wish you just had more to put in there, but that's the way it rolls, unfortunately. So slow and steady, I think we'll win the race. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. There's no point. We can talk about. It's funny. I talk to friends and stuff, or coworkers, and we're like, the bottom's. When do you think the bottom's here? It's like, I don't know. It's impossible. You think one day you think it is, or 1 week you think it is, and then it's just like more down, and you're like, okay, well, I guess that's not the bottom. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Not really into trading to time anything. It's just more so time. It's like that saying, right? Time, not timing the market, time in the market instead. And that's what I'm doing. And that's hopefully what everybody else, I think that's what the majority of people that are following the channel are doing as well. We're not here. I mean, there's a few people that do day trading, I know, but that's not my focus by any means. It's just slow and steady, building something for retirement, and hopefully it pays off. That's kind of that's how we're going, and getting dividends along the way, which is nice. The dividend stocks seem to be really popular on the channel. A lot of people are into those. It just seems like, I think it's but again, I mean, with my portfolio, I still do have a lot of more growth focused on there, which aren't doing the greatest. That's what's dragging it down. But I do have a lot. I mean, I do get flack for it all the time with comments. Is the Bitcoin ETFs I have? But hey, it's okay. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong in terms of how you decide to invest your money. That's my thought. I don't think as long as you're not putting all of your money into something. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that either. That's where it gets to be a bit risky. But if you can put a little bit in, I think it's okay. But not everybody thinks so. There's a lot of conservative. There's a lot of, more conservative investors than me that stick with. But it's okay to stick with what you know, right? If you're not sure what it is, there's no point in buying something if you're unsure and don't understand it, or don't want to learn about it, or anything like that. Then that's okay. Just buy what you know. There's nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. So, and yeah, coffee. It's still early. I guess one question I have, I know a lot of people, I know a few people still work from home, but we touched on it a little bit on the last video, because I had mentioned that I work from home, and I'd worked from home for a long time, but I never actually asked like how other people are still, or a lot of other people still working remotely. That would be nice to hear. Let me know in the comment if you still are, or is it part-time? It's always kind of interesting to know, because I've been working from home for fully for like 3 years now. No, longer than that, since 2019. So yeah, 3 years, I guess. So it's interesting to hear other people's take on it all, because, and actually a lot of my coworkers and stuff will work from home, so it's kind of normal. I'm just wondering how people are still, because you start to read articles, companies calling people back, that kind of stuff. And Zap, there we go. 95 remotely, 5 times. Yeah, I haven't been, it's funny, I haven't been in the office probably since like August 2019. Partly because I moved like where I am, we just have it's just a small, basically like administration office, right? So there's really I used to have a space there, but I kind of left that because I thought I can just do all this from home. Why am I just going to the office every day? And we used to have like we'd have smaller meetings there, but it was more of an administration remote office. So like everybody that works can't go there. There's not enough room. So I decided to start working from home, and I haven't been there since I think middle of summer of 2019 is when I stopped going there. And we have meetings. We just have meetings on Zoom all the time and stuff like that now. There are staff meetings. But it's funny because I've since kind of leaving the office, but I've moved like 3 times. I've moved to a different province, back and forth and no one even knows. I don't think anybody at the office even knew I had moved until I had to send my address for the to update for my tax time. So it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I think they kind of are. Now I guess maybe some companies are offering. That's a whole kind of big thing, because if you're working remotely and your main head office, let's just assume your office is in downtown, like Vancouver or Toronto, like a main city in Canada. Now, if the wage that they're paying you is based on living in Toronto or Vancouver, which is expensive, and you decide to go move to, let's just say, it's summer, like way out somewhere where it's not feasible to necessarily commute to work, but you're making you're making those higher salaries. Like I always find it interesting because a lot of people have done that everywhere. They've moved into rural areas because they could always work from home. They have Wi-Fi, everything else. But I always worry, like, what happens if your office decides, like, okay, well, we want you back in the office now, and you live 300, 400 kilometers from where your office is. Do you have to uproot and move back? Do they still, like, it's such an interesting time, because and you see you read some articles where places are down, like office spaces downsizing or readjusting how things work out. But you can't necessarily say people would want to go back. Like part-time, like it's kind of like all or nothing seems to work better. Like if you have to go to the office 1 day a week, it's like, what's the point really? But if you just have to go for big meetings, but again, because I know the Zoom thing gets tiring, to do meetings all day on Zoom. It's like, there's the odd day that I have meetings. Usually it's once a week, there's one, but then the odd time there's a couple, like there might be something else, or you line up other meetings and you have a big day with all meetings. It's like, oh, it's tiring. And you'd think people would know. I always laugh because you would think people by now would know how to properly use Zoom and mute their microphone and actually be able to log in properly. And anyways, that's a whole other story. There's always somebody, always somebody on the stream, or if you're meeting with someone. Like I had had to go on a presentation for a new software product, and it was the people that were putting on the presentation to try and sell this product didn't even go on camera. And it was the worst presentation I've ever didn't see. They shared their screen, but there was no. I guess here's a tip if you're selling something and trying to pitch your product, you should probably go on camera and try and pitch your product if you're doing it remotely. It was just like going onto a call, some faceless voice showing their screen. It was the work. It was, granted, we didn't pay for that software, moved on to something else. But yeah, that was a bit interesting. So Zoom, I don't know. Yeah. Although I guess back to your comment there, I won't pronounce it, is to maybe go for the incentive if they're offering that. Like if they're offering you a raise or something like that, then it's kind of like might make sense. But I have a feeling a lot of people don't miss. The problem with going to the office every day is like the cost of fuel is so expensive, and commuting is very pricey, especially when you have to go along, a fair distance to fill up your car all the time. I don't drive a ton, like I say, but it's still, it used to cost $40, $45 to fill up. Now it's like $60. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I don't have a big truck or anything like that, or a big SUV, but I know that you see people in the pump filling up, it's like $200. It's like, oof, that's pricey. Yeah, parking and fuel. Yeah, parking is crazy, especially in the big cities. If you have to park, that's super pricey. Yeah. Add in, a parking spot, depending where you're going, is $15-20 for the day. You can get a pass or a monthly thing, but that's like a few $100. Add that up, yeah, crazy. And then add on to everything else, right? That's more expensive. It's like the list goes on, right? Your mortgage is more, your rent is more, your car is more, food is more, parking is more, gas is more, your wage is not more. But that's the way it is, and that's why I think we're going to see another big, kind of what I've been reading this morning, another big rate increase, at least in the States, which Canada will probably be following. Usually that's what happens. So yeah. So I guess, did anybody else get their VDY yet? I think it was Raw commented last time he hadn't got it yet. Took him a bit to get it. But what I have noticed with segueing to dividends again here is sometimes on Wealthsimple, the dividend will actually be in your account, but you won't actually get that email until later on. That happened the last time with VFV. It showed up in my account. I didn't have an email notification for it. It was just kind of there, and then I actually had the notification that night. Kind of came through. So it must go in batches or something like that. But so sometimes check it if you haven't seen that email. The emails are a nice reminder, but. FTS. I have to look up what FTS is. Is that Fortis? Yeah, it is Fortis. Yeah, Fortis is popular. Held off for years, so probably a good time. Yeah, I think Fortis, if I'm not mistaken, Fortis is probably. I don't buy a lot of individual energy stocks. Let me see. I believe it's in FDY, or is that it? That might be Algonquin. It's always hard to keep track of what. Let me go look here. Holdings. Let's look in the energy. Royal Bank. Oh, it's Enbridge. That's what I'm thinking. Enbridge is the big one. Yeah, Fortis. Already natural gas. Yeah, probably not a bad one. A lot of these ones I don't necessarily understand why they've dropped so much. It's just people are just getting scared. So if you're buying, get it for the next. I'm just gonna carry it for 15 years or so. It's like anything. Why wouldn't you? Especially if they're paying decent dividends with Fortis. Yeah, Fortis is a popular one on the channel, and so is I just said it and just totally lost my Enbridge. It's also a popular one. That's pipeline though. And APU, Alley Property. Yeah. A lot of the REITs are really down on there, like RioCan. A lot of them, especially I think the office ones, because people are worried what the heck's going to happen, right? As we were just talking, work from home, everything else, that kind of stuff. But you read all the news, and a lot of places are trying to get everybody back, right? Apple, Facebook or Meta, a lot of the big companies. I think we'll start to see the banks in Canada starting to do that a lot more too, because they have these big spaces that they are not utilizing. So I think that will be the push, and the push I think will probably be once, like, obviously we haven't hit the. I mean, if we're in a recession now, we're probably at the start of one. And if more layoffs start coming, I can see offices wanting people to come back. I think you'd want to be I think when layoffs are coming, I think you probably want to be one of the people in the office versus remotely, depending on your position, especially. You probably want to be in front of people's eyes. I think a bit more than hidden at home somewhere. But yeah, that's just me. I didn't see it. I knew they were have been working on that. Yeah, $1,500 is pretty expensive. Yeah. Wasn't it Oculus? Yeah, they're with Oculus Rift, I think. I think they just call it Oculus now. I'll have to go check that out. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I don't know about this whole metaverse we'll see. $1,500 is probably a bit pricey for it to go mainstream right now. I've been reading though Apple's working on something too. Although those will probably be more expensive. They'll have the VR headset Pro and the Pro Plus, and it'll be a fortune. But they'll make them. It's like they'll have the regular, the Pro, and the Pro Plus, but each one is like $100 more than the next. So it's like, oh, I want to get the Plus, but the next one's only $100. So instead of buying like the base one, you end up spending like $300 more for a little bit extra features. That's the typical Apple thing. If you ever check that out with their computers, they have them so close to pricing, but by that you start to look at them, and they always have threes. And when you buy the base, it's only a little bit more for the mid one, and then it's only a little bit more for the high end one. And you're like, well, if I'm paying this much, I might as well do the next one. So that's how they get you. They're all in threes. It's very smart. Very smart. Yeah. I'll have to check out that Meta. What's that? Let me see what it looks like here. That's Pro. They're calling it. Interesting. Aimed at business users. Okay. That's kind of interesting. Still expensive. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Quest Pro. So $1,500 US. Oh, so Microsoft. Excuse me. She knows Microsoft and Teams. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see. You know what? I could see that because it. I mean, this is the one thing we were talking about Zoom and stuff earlier. Like people's. There's always like people's technology, like individual technology at home is always at different levels, right? Like, so for example, like if I'm logging in, I have a Mac, but like when we do like perfect example, that presentation, they were probably on some kind of laptop that didn't have a camera, so they had to share their screen to show the software, but it didn't have a camera on the laptop, and they didn't want to go on webcam because they couldn't share the camera. So all these different pieces and different types of technology coming together. So I could see like a virtual meeting space where like if the office is like, okay, if we're going to be remote, here's your headset, and you come on and you're an avatar and the background is all virtual, so you can literally not have to worry about you can have piles of laundry behind you and no one would know. So yeah, I can see that. And if it's cheaper than giving everybody a proper computer that they need, for whatever to do that, if that's the case, because a lot of times I'm going to guess different companies too, if they're providing like hardware to their workers, they might not have cameras on them for security reasons, right? Like they might not want you to have a camera on your laptop for whatever reason. So they give them something else that you can go on and you can probably connect, like with, possibly through internet with your phone, just to have a network somewhere, and you can kind of do it wherever. Yeah, it's a future maybe. Wouldn't bother me. I'd happily put on a headset and go onto a Zoom. Doesn't really make a difference. We're kind of almost there anyways, like virtual backgrounds with StreamYard. This is StreamYard, but there's like virtual background behind you, and no one's none the wiser. So in some ways it would be easier. You wouldn't have to set up you don't have to set up a green screen or have your background look nice. Plus everything is the same, sound, everything else. So interesting. I'll have to look a bit more into that. Can't say I'd get one, but I always find this technology interesting. That's for sure. I'm gonna bookmark that. It's called the Quest Pro. If anybody's watching that is interested, from Meta that we were just talking about there. Good find. And I'm just gonna. I always seem to get like so many pages opening up here when I'm looking at stuff. And then, 8:30 already. The time flies when you're always jumping on live streams. Like I say all the time, it goes so fast. Let's find some other news. What's popping up? The market's kind of flat today. Up, some stuff is up, which is nice. Because we were kind of had a terrible day yesterday. I was doing some errands and stuff yesterday and just checked in a little bit. It's like, oof, that's ugly. So the portfolio right now is probably back to down around. I'm gonna guess, I haven't looked fully today since I bought, but probably still down like 19%, which isn't great. But I think a lot of people are in the same boat. My self-directed one is holding up about this. Well, I do have some other ones in Wealthsimple, like my RSP is in Wealthsimple, and it's done automatically, right? Robo, and it's not down quite as much, but it's not quite as like with my TFSA, I have some more riskier stuff in there, right? With the Bitcoin and stuff. It's still down quite substantially, unfortunately. But I am glad I took off when I started it. I was never big into bond. Like I'm not in with the Wealthsimple Invest. You can choose like your risk tolerance, right? And I'm like max risk. So I have very little bonds in my investment, which turned out to be a good thing. I think if people are in there with a 50-50 or 60-40 portfolios right now are just looking at it going like that's not good. So look for that. But yeah, that's one way to look at it. That's what I do too. Not stressing about anything really. Yeah, so Em, welcome to the channel. I think this is your first time commenting. Yeah, it's hard to say, but I do know a lot of people are sitting in cash. Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. It's timing it, right? That's the whole thing. There could be another sell-off. It depends. I think coming into the new year, yeah. It's so hard right now to be able to. It's so like everything's just so out of whack that I think we've never seen. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but we haven't seen something like this in a long time. And it's like, what do you do? So I don't think cash is a bad thing, especially now that, it's such a weird, like, so if you're sitting on cash, at least if you're sitting on cash now, we're making a little bit more money than that, nothing from interest, but yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's timing it. You have to trying to time the bottom, and then you're trying to time, you try and time the top to get out, or what do you, like, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. So I think going back to, well, a lot of people, I mean, what you kind of said, when it's down, you just add more. Yeah, slowly and surely. And it's dollar cost average, not having the time, not pay attention. Sorry, not pay attention as much to price, just dollar cost average. Yeah. Kind of been my theory going forward. I don't think, it doesn't matter this year what you were invested in, you would be down. So there's pain all around. You could have had everything in the safest investment, all in bonds, and you'd be down probably more than equities. Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. But I mean, you make a little more, you do with interest, but you're not losing. But I mean, when it starts to, it sounds so hard. You can't predict when it's gonna change. I think it's gonna be a while. But this is the whole thing, right? Do you wait and try and time it, or you just kind of slowly buy, and it goes? I mean, because it's eventually everything is going to eventually improve. It's when, right? I think we're gonna have an ugly year. Yeah. So I don't know. I really don't know. The best. I can't give anybody the best advice. Everybody's kind of different. I'm just doing what I'm doing. Yeah, because it sucks. You look at things and you're like, oh, this is ugly. But if you're getting something that you're planning to hold for, yeah, exactly. If you're close, this is the hard part. This is the hard part though. Like people that are close to retirement, this like in the next few years, we're probably sitting in a lot of bonds, and that's pretty devastating. So it's but yeah, that's the thing. It's when to time it. Especially if you're sitting on a lot of cash. I do have a friend that has been sitting on cash. Everything, not even in the market. He's done the best. Although it's down with inflation, but generally speaking, actually did better than anybody I know. Just because of that's the whole question we talk about probably every day. It's like, what should I be doing? I'm like, I don't know. Don't go all in. Maybe divide it up and make a deposit every week for the next X amount. How much you want to get in there. Yeah. It's yeah, the GIC now. Well, but that's now, right? I mean, a year ago we weren't getting those, but yeah, GICs are looking, and a lot of more people are talking about GICs, about what they're paying, because they're decent. Even like the short terms are great, for something. Yeah, we haven't seen those in like 20 years more. I have to look back, but it's been a long time. So okay, so retiree. Yeah, so everybody's different, right? And that's the thing. And if it makes you sleep at night, that's the most important thing. If you're invested in something and you're not sleeping because you're worried about it, you probably shouldn't be in it. That's like anything. Yeah. And no, there you go. You just, because then you don't have to worry about timing it, right? You just set your goal, or your, not your, well, it's your goal, but you're an amount, right? You're going to put X amount into it. I mean, that's the one thing I do like about the Wealthsimple, I don't share a lot of, it's my RSP, but I like that it takes a lot of the emotion out of it. Very diversified. You don't have to decide what to buy. You just have to decide X amount of dollars, how often, and it does it for you. And it does a decent job. It does what you want it to. It's not going to make the mistakes of chasing something that you think is going to go better or have to hold for longer. It just kind of does its thing with ETFs, right? So I've been happy about that. For dollar cost averaging, it's pretty easy. Especially I find with, for me, for my RSP, it's just kind of like set it, forget it, and check up on it every quarter kind of thing to pay attention. But I don't really make any change. It kind of does the changes for you. If you actually go back and look at the robo, because it's all done by algorithms. It buys and sells kind of for you. It rebalances for you. It does all that kind of stuff. So, Jordan, good question. TFSA, someone, I can't, and sorry if they're watching, I can't remember. I think it was Justin mentioned, could be completely wrong. I think it's 6,600. So, there he is, 60, there he is. So he's here. Justin, there you go, 6,500 next year. And kudos to you, Jordan, if you've been able to max it out this year already. That's accomplishment. That's awesome. That's great. I'm nowhere near my limit, but I'm pretty close to probably have maxed it out. Like, not maxed it out for this year, but like if I had been to my limit, I'm pretty close to that. So 6,500, yeah, from 6,000, yeah. So that's good. Good for people. It's just having hopefully having the money to be able to put in there. Hopefully everybody's still working, not being impacted by anything yet. That's always the worry, right? With the way the market and the big R word. So not to go doom and gloom. Let's keep it positive. Let's keep it positive, and hopefully, if everybody's been able to max out their RSP or their TFSA this year, we'll see. But thanks for coming, Justin, again, jumping in there and helping. Hard to keep track of all the numbers, but yeah. What do people do if you're? I guess it's a good position to be in if you're maxed on your TFSA. Do you put it into your RSP, or do you just keep it in cash for next year? Or, that's always interesting. I know some people have it. They'll start to put it into, because they have a bit of room in their RSP, so they'll put it there, or just into or do you invest into like the same portfolio in a non-registered for whatever reason? Oh, well, we can let the viewers. That's going to be everybody's different. Everybody's going to be definitely different with that. Let the comments come through if anybody has any favorites for growth stock. Telus is popular. Not so much. That's not so much a growth though. My portfolio is more into, for growth, I'm thinking is more cryptocurrency, but that's me. That's not for everybody. Let's just see what else is popular. I do see long-term, like I'm betting more on, for me personally, it's also renewables. And I always wish I have more, but I don't, is the Brookfield Brookfield Renewables. For myself, I see that as a growth. And when they actually just got involved with it, they did a purchase with, I'd have to pull it up, the name, one of the uranium mining companies to buy a nuclear power company. The news was just out yesterday. I have to really dig into it, but interesting with that one. I find that one interesting, but yeah, that's the thing. How you do it, yeah. TFSA is kind of the way to go. I wish I just got started in my TFSA sooner, as you learn. Yeah, there you call it, Kamenko. And yeah, Brookfield Asset Management is a good one too. CP, yeah, Canadian Pacific. A couple other people I know are into CP Rail, CN Rail as well on the channel. So everybody's different. Everybody's got their kind of favorites of what they think is going to be for some growth. Yeah. In terms of TSXV, I think you asked for as well. Yeah, you did TS. I've been got a bit down on Greenlane Renewables. That's kind of one of my growth. See how that happens. Yeah, that news was interesting, and of course, this BEP is probably down today because it just doesn't make sense to me. But it's down 2% today. I might actually buy some of that. Brookfield is down to 39.33. It's down quite a bit. It has big swing. It has big swings. I find it's hard, and it's pricey, but under $40 is actually pretty good. But yeah, I think that's what they're seeing, right? It's kind of the way to go with renewable, and they're just getting it. If they're just getting into that part, it's kind of like, okay, interesting. So as you can see, everybody's got their different choices for what they want to buy. So there's no right or wrong. It's like a big gamble, isn't it? Sometimes, like, it's like literally like kind of like gambling, depending what you're buying. Yeah, I'm gonna just make a note to look at Brookfield to check out later if I can swing a purchase. I wasn't planning to, but then you look at the price and you're like, oof. Especially if you're holding stuff. But there we go. Well, we're catching close to 9 o'clock here. I just want to thank everybody again for joining up. Hopefully you find I find these streams really helpful. Because people are able to answer questions that I don't know the answer to, and we can definitely learn a lot of things. And it's nice to see actually there's new people that are on each time, which is great. We've got the regulars, which is awesome, but always see some new faces that are hopefully joined and subscribed to the channel. And it's nice to see, because I know some people haven't left comments. It's just nice to see grab everybody this way. We're just kind of doing what we do, and hopefully everybody likes jumping onto these, have a bit of banter, bit of ramble on, see where the topic goes. I enjoy doing them just to do a check-in, just to see, because everybody's kind of we're all in the same boat. We all have a lot of the same goals here, so it's nice to share some ideas with people, to make sure we're all kind of at least on the right rails going forward. So I think everybody that's stuck around. What I have noticed with the channel, this is, I said it before, with a bit of the sentiment of the market, it's slow, like the subscriber growth part. I mean, it's over 1,000, which is awesome and amazing, but like, you notice it when the market's down, the views and everything is down on the channel, which I find is interesting, because this is probably the time when people should be trying to invest, but it's like they're scared and not checking things out. So it's good that everybody that's here is sticking around. It seems like, I think everybody that is following the channel and going through now is in probably the right mindset of a long-term investment and not trying to, like, time something and go all in on something. It's all just regular investors, right? We're not trying to pump anything up and go into something that's, we've learned along the way, and we're doing things slow and steady. So I think that's what's nice. So there we go. Coming up to 9, I have to get to work, and hopefully, I guess everybody's got to hit. Hopefully, everybody's working later today too, and keeping busy so we can earn some more money to invest into what we do. So thanks for watching, everybody. Before we go, I just want to say how much I appreciate it. Definitely make sure everybody, like you said, everybody has a great day. Hopefully, if you're able to buy something today that you had your eye on, you might get it a bit of a deal, and we'll just keep rolling. We'll catch up in the next live stream. Before you do sign off, though, if everybody could hit let's just say the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. If you know anybody that's a friend or family that think they might be interested in jumping on and checking out some content, it's always appreciated if you share the channel. I know a few people have shared it to their friends, and that's how they found the channel. So always appreciate it. We'll leave it at that. That's the shameless plug out of the way. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. I will. We'll catch you all in the next one.